What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back to a new review. Today we are checking out another affordable ROG device from China called the Zoji Z9. So you can buy this phone for about $200 and for $200 you get a phone that's shockproof and waterproof. So you can do this with it and if you drop the phone nothing would happen to it. I've also had the phone in water for a couple of minutes and the phone still works afterwards, but I haven't exactly been diving or swimming with the phone, so I can't really say how the phone would do under those situations. So inside this phone we have the Mediatek Helio P23. This is an octa-core CPU that gets very similar performance to the Snapdragon 625. So if we check the scores on the Antutu benchmark or the Geekbench 4, the scores are very similar. Now this is also a power efficient CPU and combining that with the 5500 mAh battery that we have inside this device, you can go for about 2 to 3 days on one charge and out of that get between 15 to 20 hours of screen on time. Now keep in mind that that's just my personal estimation, because if you actually go to settings and you click on battery, the phone will not show you any detailed information, so nothing shows up in there. And I know I could have installed a bunch of apps and they could keep track of my battery usage, but I haven't, and I'm just telling you what I think I got from this device. So aside from that, we have 6 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of internal storage, and as we've seen in the past, out of that 64 gigs of internal storage you have about 54 gigs left, but the phone can also take an SD card and that SD card can be used as internal storage, and that means that you can install apps on the SD card. I was also happy to see that the phone supports a bunch of bands and it should work pretty much anywhere in the world including the US, but before buying this phone definitely make your own research and make sure that the phone would actually work with your carrier. Alright, so on the front we have a 5.7-inch screen that has a 720p resolution, and yes, I know it doesn't have a 1080p resolution, but I think the screen looks pretty good considering the price of the phone. So the colors are super vibrant, the viewing angles are really good, and the screen gets bright enough so you can actually use the phone outside. Not to mention the sensitivity is also good. So I don't really have too many complaints about this particular screen. Just above the screen we also have a 13 megapixel front-facing camera, and the picture quality is decent enough as long as you have plenty of light. When you don't have enough light, well, the pictures become kind of grainy, but that's the case with pretty much any cheaper device. So next to that camera we also have an LED notification light, and the camera can also be used for face unlocking, and the face unlocking works good once again as long as you have enough light. When you don't have enough light, you're probably better off to use the fingerprint scanner that's on the back of the device. So the fingerprint scanner is accurate every single time you touch it, but this is definitely not the quickest fingerprint scanner out there. Not to mention the positioning of the fingerprint scanner isn't ideal because it's very close to those cameras on the back, and many times I found myself pressing the cameras instead of the fingerprint scanner. So I wish the fingerprint scanner would have been a bit lower or the cameras higher or something like that. And talking about those two cameras on the back of the device, well, one of them is a 21 megapixel sensor and the other one doesn't seem to do anything or doesn't seem to work or something like that, because if you take any pictures with the bokeh effect, well, we basically get a circle in the middle and everything is blurred out outside the circle. So I'm gonna say that the second camera on the back of the device is fake or it does not work. Now if you take regular looking pictures, those pictures turn out pretty good, the dynamic range is good, the detail is good, but as soon as you don't have enough light, you're starting to get a bit more grain in those pictures. So overall, if you just take regular looking pictures, the pictures turn out great, but if you're planning to take any portrait mode pictures, well, those ones aren't gonna do that great. So the phone's body is made out of a combination of metal, rubber and plastic. So the sides are made out of metal, the buttons are also made out of metal. On the left hand side we have a little rubber flap that covers the slot for the SIM card. So this device can take either two SIM cards or a SIM card and an SD card. And at the bottom we have another flap that covers the USB-C port. So this phone supports fast charging, and if you use the charger that comes in the box, you can charge the phone from 0 to 100 in about 2 hours and 20 minutes. And we also have a little microphone there. Now the back looks like it's made out of glass, however that is just plastic, and on the back there we also have the speaker. Now the speaker is pointing away from you and it doesn't sound that amazing either, so definitely not the best speaker experience that I've ever heard, but this is a quick sample just so you can see for yourself how the speaker sounds. Moving on to performance, well, I can't really say anything bad about it. So we have Android 8.1 and the launcher is very close to stock Android, so there isn't much holding the phone back. And pretty much every single app that you're gonna use on it works really well, and very similar to what we've seen from other phones using the Mediatek Helio P23, because the software seems to be very well optimized for it. So if you're using the Facebook app, for example, scrolling through your feed is done without very much lag. I mean, there is a bit of lag here and there depending when you're using the app and so on, but I've seen that lag on much more expensive devices that have the Snapdragon 845, for example. Using Chrome, scrolling up, scrolling down, and zooming in, zooming out is done without any lag. On the YouTube app, unfortunately, the maximum resolution is 720p, but that's the maximum resolution of the screen, so we can't really do anything about that. And pretty much all the apps that I tried on this device seem to work fairly good. Now, you can also play some games on it, but of course you're gonna have to lower your expectations a bit. But if you lower the graphics settings on most games, including PUBG, the phone will do great for gaming as well. The GPS unit inside it works really good as well, and it only takes like half a second to find your location, and once your location is found, the phone doesn't seem to lose it. So no complaints about the GPS unit. As for sensors, well, the phone has all the sensors that you would find in other more expensive devices, including a gyroscope. Connectivity wise, we have 4G connectivity, dual band Wi-Fi, but unfortunately we do not get NFC. As I mentioned earlier, this phone should also work in the US, so the bands should match some US carriers, and here in Canada I was able to use the phone on 2G, 3G and on 4G. The speaker at the top here gets loud enough and the call quality is also good. As for the speeds over the 4G network and the dual band Wi-Fi, they're decent enough, but I don't think they're the best that I've seen in the past, I don't know, 6 months or so. And it's time to conclude this video. So this phone has a lot of good things going for it. It looks great, it feels great, it performs great, the cameras aren't amazing, and I don't really like the fact that the second camera on the back is kind of useless. I don't like these rubber flaps at the bottom and on the side here, because if you're gonna keep opening those for like 3-6 months, I don't think they're gonna stay in there that well. So I'd rather have a phone without these rubber flaps. Other than that, the phone gets some great battery life, it looks pretty good, and it performs very good as well. So if you're looking for a phone that's waterproof, shockproof, and you only have about $200 to spend, this could be a good phone to consider. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, press that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.